So we're going to talk about putting the rubber gasket onto the top of the toter to convert it to an anaerobic fermenter. And I want to focus your attention to the details of the top of this lid. There's a rim, and just below the rim, about an inch below the rim on the inside of the toter, is a ledge. And if you take the template and you place it on that ledge, you will see a black mark that's the indicator where you drill holes. The template is 6 inches, so the holes are going to be drilled approximately every 6 inches. So we start out in the middle, and I've already drilled a hole and put it here, but I would just continue working my way around the rim this way, and you just do this all the way around the entire system. Now in the corner, if you don't end up right at the corner, just put 2 extra holes close to the corner, and you'll see why we're going to do that shortly. But that's to make the curve fit for the rubber gasket. Now, the gasket itself is positioned with the short end that's about a 1/2 inch on the inside. The broader end that's about an inch, that has another angle to it on the other side, just lays over the top border of this edge. And it doesn't have to be snug right now. We're just going to go around and attach all the way around, and I've pre-drilled the holes, so now I'm going to continue putting the screws and tracking this rubber gasket all the way around until it comes to this side, and then I'm going to overlap it about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So we've now placed the rubber gasket securely with the screws mounted on the inside lip of the toter, and we're about ready to complete the circumference. And at this point we want to have a slight overlap of about a 1/2 inch between the starting point and the ending point. So we're going to use the knife and cut carefully. A square cut as close as you can get it, so that we have an overlap. And the reason for this is that if you don't overlap, you'll have a gap where oxygen can get in there. So it just overlaps, and I have one other hole that I need to place on this side with a screw. So I need to drill a hole. That's all it takes. I'm going to have one side under the other. Press the screw through, put it in the hole, and we're just about done with the first stage. Okay, it's completely bonded on the inside lip. Now we're going to use the E6000 adhesive. And here's a very important step, so I want you to pay close attention as to what you do with the E6000 adhesive. We have it loaded, ready to go. We're going to start at the back. We're going to lift these 2 flaps, and we're going to just put a bead, very thick bead, of the E6000 all the way along on the inside rim here. So you can see how we're going right along here. Just let it run easily and fully right into the area here, following all the way around the curve. Alright, we're coming around, filling the gap between the rubber gasket from the underside of the gasket, and we're putting a large bead of E6000 bonding agent between the plastic rim of the toter and the rubber gasket. And we're just about complete here on the first rim around. Alright, that's very complete, and don't worry if there's a little bit of the bonding agent that spills on the inside. Just go around and press all the way around, and you'll notice that there's a little bit of spillage over onto the top of the rim, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, it's so okay I'm going to even put a tiny little bead right there, because the next step we're going to do is mount a post on top of the lid, and then we're going to bond the lid down with our bungee cords and allow this to cure over the next 24 hours. And during that process, the plastic and the rubber gasket will form and solidify to make a perfect seal, so that when you open and close the tote, it will be anaerobic. Alright, this is a post that is positioned at the front side of the toter on the lid, with the channel facing opposite or to the back. The bolt or screw with a special gasket will be on the inside, and when it's tightened down, it'll form an anaerobic seal, if you will, between the post and the lid. We're going to have to drill a hole in the center near the front, and this should be set back at about 3 inches from the front lip of the toter. So we'll do that right now. The exact position is not super critical, it just needs to be approximate. Okay, we have a hole. Now we're going to use our wrench or socket to place the screw from the inside with the gasket on the inside to the outside. And we're going to fasten very securely to the lid this post. Now you may have noticed I have a pair of vice grips here, a tool. If you don't have a pair of vice grips or a crescent wrench or some kind of other tool that would keep your hand from taking the punishment, will make life easier. This is very important to have this post tightly secure so it doesn't spin or wobble. And you should be able to tighten it down to a very tight point against that internal gasket. Now we're going to do the final clamp down so that the gasket will seal properly and cure. We placed the bungee cord with the 2 clips looped through the middle side here. Lay it forward. Take your second bungee cord with the hooks, so we have it looped and completely closed in a circle. Now you're going to bring the longer cord around the corners so that it locks down. Now we now have it locked across the corners on the back, but we don't have it locked across the front. So to lock it across the front, we press down on the gasket. We bring the cord, bungee cord, across the back corners. We pull the bungee cord forward with our right hand, pressing down on the lid. Bring the cord up and over the post, and it's locked. It's putting pressure on all 4 corners. It's compressing the gasket all the way around, and that gasket is going to seal now with that E6000. But you want to leave this alone now for 24 hours. During that time, the E6000 will cure, and then you'll have an anaerobic fermenter ready to go.